Subscribe to Simplified Biology channel and press the bell icon to get notified when a new video is uploaded. Hello friends, welcome to Simplified Biology. Today's topic is digestive enzymes and its mnemonic. Digestive enzymes. Now before going through the digestive enzymes, let's first see the alimentary canal. Now the alimentary canal starts with the mouth, which is the anterior opening, and it leads us to the buccal cavity, also known as the oral cavity. Now this is the buccal cavity or the oral cavity. The buccal cavity then opens into a short pharynx. Now, pharynx is a common opening for both food and air, as both the trachea and the esophagus open at the pharynx. The food is prevented from entering the trachea, that is the windpipe, by the presence of a cartilaginous flap called epiglottis. Now, epiglottis prevents the food from entering the glottis, that is the trachea or the windpipe. So the food from the pharynx moves into the esophagus. Now this is the esophagus. It is a long thin tube that passes through the neck, thorax and the diaphragm. It finally reaches the stomach. The esophagus leads to the stomach. Now the esophagus entry into the stomach is regulated by a muscular sphincter. A muscular sphincter regulates the entry of esophagus into the stomach, which is J-shaped and is present at the abdominal region. From the stomach, or the stomach is connected to the small intestine. Now the small intestine consists of three parts. This is the stomach. The stomach then leads to the small intestine, which consists of a U-shaped duodenum, then a middle coiled jejunum, and then a highly coiled ileum. It has duodenum, which is U-shaped, then the jejunum, and finally the highly coiled ileum. Now, ileum leads to the large intestine. The large intestine consists of three parts: cecum, the ileum opens into the cecum, which is a blind sac. Now this is the cecum, which is a blind sac and has a finger-like projection. This is known as the vermiform appendix, which is a vestigial organ. The cecum then leads to the colon, which consists of three parts. This is the colon, which can be divided into three parts: the ascending, transverse and the descending part. The colon then leads to the rectum, from which finally opens out through the anus. So these are the different parts of the alimentary canal. Now digestion of food starts in the buccal cavity or in the mouth, where mastication of food occurs. Mastication, that is chewing, and mixing of food occurs with the saliva secreted by the salivary glands. Now, the digestive enzymes are secreted by the salivary glands, in stomach where HCl and pepsin is formed, in the pancreas where the echinus cells of the pancreas, they secrete the pancreatic juice, which consists of proteases, lipases and amylases, while the intestinal mucosa of the small intestine secretes the intestinal juices, which are also referred as succus entericus, which consists of peptidases, sucrase, maltase, lactase, nucleosidases. Liver secretes bile. Now the bile is secreted in the liver and stored in the gallbladder. And through the bile duct, it is released into the duodenum. The pancreatic juices are also released into the duodenum through the duct. The major breakdown of food takes place in the duodenum. In the duodenum, the larger molecules get broken down into the smaller parts. These small or simple substances are then absorbed by the duodenum and the ileum. The undigested substance that is left behind are passed into the large intestine, where absorption of water and minerals occur. The undigested part is then passed to the rectum, where it is stored temporarily and is then released out through the anus as the feces. Now we'll start with the digestion of carbohydrates. Digestion of carbohydrates starts in the oral cavity by the saliva, which secretes the amylase enzyme. This amylase enzyme converts starch and glycogen into maltose. After the oral cavity, digestion of carbohydrate takes place in the small intestine by the help of pancreatic juices and intestinal juices. Now, the pancreatic juice consists of alpha amylase, which converts starch into maltose. While the intestinal juices consist of maltase, sucrase and lactase. Maltase converts maltose into glucose, while sucrase converts sucrose into glucose plus fructose, and lactase converts lactose into glucose plus galactose. So the digestion of carbohydrate starts in the mouth and continues in the small intestine. These enzymes can be remembered by the word small. Small has 2L, but in this we'll add 2A. Sucrase, maltase, amylase, that of saliva, and amylase, alpha amylase of pancreatic juices, and lactase. Next, digestion of proteins. Digestion of proteins starts not in the mouth but in the stomach by the help of gastric juices, which consists of HCl, pepsinogen and prorenin. HCl provides an acidic pH, while pepsinogen and prorenin are proenzymes. Pepsinogen and prorenin are converted into the active form by the help of HCl. Pepsinogen is converted into pepsin and prorenin is converted into renin. Pepsin converts proteins into peptones and proteoses, while renin converts casein, that is a milk protein, into peptides. Now, peptones are partially hydrolyzed proteins. The further digestion of proteins continue in the small intestine by the help of pancreatic juices, which are produced in the form of proenzyme. They are trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidase, and proelastase. Now, trypsinogen is converted into trypsin by the help of enterokinase. Now, this enterokinase is secreted by the intestinal mucosa. So, trypsinogen first gets converted into trypsin by the help of enterokinase, which is secreted by the intestinal mucosa. This trypsin then converts proteins into dipeptides. Trypsin converts proteins into dipeptides. And trypsin is also responsible for converting chymotrypsinogen into chymotrypsin, procarboxypeptidase to carboxypeptidase, and proelastase into elastase. So, trypsin is responsible for converting protein into dipeptide and converting the proenzymes chymotrypsinogen into chymotrypsin, procarboxypeptidase into carboxypeptidase, and proelastase into elastase. Chymotrypsin converts or breaks down peptones into dipeptides. Carboxypeptidase converts proteoses into dipeptides. While elastase converts elastin into the dipeptides. Now, the trick or the mnemonic to remember these enzymes are: eat tender chicken chunks elegantly. E of eat is for enterokinase. T of tender is for trypsin. C of chicken is for chymotrypsin. C of chunks is for carboxypeptidase, while E of elegantly is for elastase. Now, the digestion of proteins by the intestinal juices. Enterokinase, which is used as an activator for trypsinogen. Aminopeptidases catalyzes or breaks down the peptones and proteases into amino acids, while the dipeptidases converts dipeptides into amino acids. So this is how breakdown of amino proteins occur. Next is digestion of fats. Now digestion of fats occur in the small intestine by the help of bile salts and pancreatic lipase. Now bile salts convert fat globules into fat droplets, while the pancreatic lipase converts triglycerides into fatty acid and glycerol. So in the end, let's go through once again. Carbohydrate digestion starts in the buccal cavity or the oral cavity by the help of the salivary amylase. It then continues in the small intestine. Protein digestion starts in the stomach while it continues in the small intestine. Nucleic acid digestion takes place in the small intestine where DNA and RNA are broken down by nucleases to nucleotides and then to nucleosides. Finally, the nitrogenous bases, sugar and phosphate. While fat digestion takes place inside the small intestine where fat globules are converted into fat droplets which are then broken down into fatty acids and glycerols. That's all for today. Please do like, subscribe and comment, and also visit our website by clicking on the link given below. Thank you for watching.